What if SKELEDIRGE was in Gen 1 OU? First off, I'd like to apologize. This video is way overdue. This has been requested for so long, and it's finally here, so hooray. I know you guys have been wanting to see this one, especially one of you in particular, and I don't blame you at all. SKELEDIRGE has the nice ghost typing, funnily enough. Just like Gengar, it's still weak to ground. However, with the fire typing, at least it's not weak to psychic. But as you're gonna soon find out, that doesn't really matter. But it also has an interesting signature move called Torch Song, where every time you use it, it boosts its special attack. Or, in Gen 1, it's special. So obviously you guys are curious to see how good it would do, and so was I. So let's find out together, shall we? Now first off, I'm just gonna say, its stats are... It's a starter, so obviously it has good stats. I would say the best ones are HP, which doesn't surprise anybody, and ironically, speed. Because, to no one's surprise, SKELEDIRGE obviously learns Fire Spin. And because of that, that means that he has a trapping move. So having 66 speed, I would argue it's one of his most important stats, because that means he outspeeds the base 55 Executor, the base 50 Chansey, and the base 30 Swelbro and Rhydon. It's really unfortunate that you're just barely slower than Cloyster, because if you were faster, or even like had a speed tie, maybe that match could have been a little bit better. But for the most part, all the Pokemon that it needs to outspeed, it can. And being able to outspeed Executor means with Fire Spin, you could put in the damage range, and with Swelbro and Rhydon, you can trap them so that you can easily switch into something else. And in fact, in Rhydon's case, it could actually help you win if you have literally no other options left. As for moves, SKELEDIRGE does have a pretty good amount. He has Body Slam, Earthquake, Fire Blast, Nightshade, which is actually pretty nice, considering it always does a fourth of the user's HP. However, you're going to see later, but I'm going to argue you don't really need this. Didn't even know he got Poltergeist until now, which, it's okay, not in Gen 1, but interesting. Rest, which I do think it's one of his most important moves, because I do think you really want to make sure you're not, like taking too much damage, so I think healing is just really useful. Big shame he can't have Slack Off. I decided to give him Torch Song, which, yes, it's a big deal. Just a move that will 100% raise the user special. How good would it be though? You guys have to find out later. Like I said, he has Fire Spin. He also has Hyper Beam. And Wickus is pretty garbage. And if we're relying all moves, Thunder Fang could be used for special coverage. But, well, oh well. And while he does have moves like Body Slam and Nightshade, okay, here's gotta be my hot take. Pun very much intended. I think the most optimal moveset for SKELEDIRGE is Fire Blast, Torch Song, Fire Spin, and then Rest. I know, this doesn't look real, but believe me, I honestly believe that this is better than anything else you can have. Because all three of these fire moves are very good on their own, but however, they do very different things, for lack of better words. Fire Spin and Torch Song, for the most part, should be self-explanatory. The main move that's raising your special, then trapping, and then like I said, rest, since SKELEDIRGE obviously is, even though he's faster than all the things he needs to be faster than, he's still gonna take a lot of hits from like Tauros' Earthquake, or like a Psychic, or like Chansey's Ice Beam or Seismic Toss, etc. so obviously you want to get that HP back. A Fire Blast is good for 2 reasons. Let's just put this in the Gen 1 format real quick. So for starters, Fire Blast, it has a 30% chance to burn, unlike it's 10% in modern gens, which I think is super important for, let's say, the Tauros matchup. Because if you're able to burn Tauros, and just like completely weaken its earthquakes, it suddenly doesn't have any ways to really damage you. And you can suddenly, like, potentially rest up, and then you can beat the 1v1. You'll see in the replay how good it does even without a burn. But it's also good for, like, let's say, Rhydon as well. Being able to burn Rhydon so that you don't get completely destroyed by Earthquake. Not to mention, even though you can get really powerful with Torch Song, it's nice having a base 80, stat move, and then going from 110. It's, in a way, like a special version of Tauros' Body Slam and Hyper Beam, except the stronger move has the higher base power and has the status. You guys can disagree with me all you want, but even if you look at like the rest of its stats, like base 75, it's good, it's okay, but using like Body Slam against Alakazam, sure, that's something you can do. I'd also argue if you got a whole bunch of Torch Songs up and then hit with a stronger Fire Blast, that would basically be more effective anyways. Same thing with Nightshade. Maybe if you were faster, it would be good. But I feel like if you just want good consistent damage, just spamming Torch Song, even against Resist, would probably be better in just most circumstances. But you guys can let me know what you think in the comments below. And I'm still not going to go over what Torch Song actually does, because we're going to get on to the replays. Starting off with the boy himself, Tauros. And luckily, Earthquake isn't a 2-hit KO, but Fire Blast is. Obviously, Torch Song wouldn't be. So I think even without the burn, you can already see the importance of Fire Blast. And yes, for the first replay, I forgot to get rid of Blaze. I don't think it mattered too much, because, yeah, like, Blaze is like below 50, so yeah, it didn't matter. But yeah, I was surprised. I would still put this in could go either way, since Tauros can obviously crit. But it's really good. And then against Snorlax, you're faster, so that means you can trap it with Fire Spin. For Snorlax though, I would argue you don't really need to. Even if it has Amnesia or Earthquake, you can just overpower it anyways. Burn Fire Blast is nice, but even just like using Snorlax as like a big punching bag to like, just stack up on Torch Songs, it's also really nice. So yeah, there's just nothing Snorlax can really do. And I don't know if he has a better matchup against Snorlax than Gengar. It probably just depends. But it's funny how I haven't even mentioned Skeledirge's ghost typing yet. But yeah, that's also a really big deal. He's immune to like all of the normal moves, which makes his matchup against Tauros and Snorlax debatably even better. Or for Snorlax, it just flat out does. It just means that he just has a good matchup regardless of what Snorlax that you're using. And then for Chansey, oh boy, this is where you guys are going to learn something very unfortunate. And did you notice that? Notice how the first Ice Beam did 21%, but the second did 24? Yeah, for those of you who don't know, for when you add new Pokemon that aren't in Gen 1 on custom games, even if it doesn't show it, it still uses their special defense stat. And while I was hoping it would be the case, it looks like it is. So even though Skeledirge can boost his special, it's only boosting his special attack. And you even see there, he was at like, times 3, but he's still taking 20%. This is really, really unfortunate, because I know you guys really wanted to see just Skeledirge get bulkier and bulkier, and I really wanted to see that too. But it's I guess it's just not possible. It's times like these where I really do consider, like, maybe making my own, like, showdown mod. So that maybe Pokemon like this, it could be more accurate. And we could actually see how good SKELEDIRGE does when you're, like, boosting his special. However, I don't know how to do that. And even then, like, part of the appeal, at least for me, with this series, is how quickly I can make videos. So I'm not even sure how long it would take to, like, mod in a Pokemon, whatever. You guys let me know. As for the matchup itself, I would say it's pretty good for SKELEDIRGE. Debatably, it could go either way. For the most part, SKELEDIRGE is faster, has Fire Spin, it can boost its special, meaning even as a special wall, Chansey can struggle to do stuff against it. And then Alakazam, maybe this would be a lot better if you can boost its special. But also, look here, you see how much Psychic did. And see how much more it did after the special drop? Even though you didn't see it on screen, it still had it. Which, yes, as you can imagine, that makes that matchup way more one-sided. Do I even need to show you this one? Like, obviously, Cloyster just kills with, you know, super effective, Clamp. There's nothing SKELEDIRGE can do. Like, maybe if you have, like, a paralyzed Cloyster. But when do you ever have a paralyzed Cloyster that's at low health? Like, really? And with Exeggutor, like, this one also should be a surprise. SKELEDIRGE can just Fire Spin. And while he did unfortunately miss there, luckily I misclicked and used Psychic instead of Sweet Powder. But more importantly, I don't think Eggy would stay in the first place. You would probably just switch out. And I'm not sure if Torch Song would have also killed there. But I'm assuming either way, it's good enough whether you use Fire Blast or Torch Song. Both will hit pretty hard. And then with Gengar, Gengar can just put you to sleep. And while you could theoretically build up Torch Songs against Gengar, I would argue that Gengar just doesn't really need to worry about it in the first place. Meanwhile, SKELEDIRGE absolutely needs to worry about Hypnosis, Nightshade, and as may sound, Gengar Psychic. So yeah, like, I'm sure a lot of you were expecting SKELEDIRGE to be just completely overpowered, because it can just get bulkier and bulkier. And maybe if it could do that, it would be like a busted mon. But for now, that's just not the case, unfortunately. Doesn't even have an OHKO on Jinx. And Jinx can still just put you to sleep. And not so much Blizzard did. And of course, SKELEDIRGE gets the Psychic or the special drop. Poor guy. Even though it looks like SKELEDIRGE would struggle a lot, I would still argue SKELEDIRGE would still be OU. And here's why it's debatably worse matchups. But at the same time, because of the 3 fire moves you have, I feel like you theoretically stand a chance. Like, I wouldn't risk it if you, like, don't have to. But let's say it's like a one-on-one. You have just SKELEDIRGE and Rhydon. You have Fire Spin to, you know, trap it. You can use always one Torch Song to boost your special. And then you could, you know, use a Fire Blast or get a burn. I think I will put the matchup and could go either way, although it's heavily in Rhydon's favor, because you do need some good RNG in order to win the 1v1. However, SKELEDIRGE, I feel like actually has a chance of winning the 1v1, which is way more than I can say for Moltres and Charizard. Not to mention, and this is like a SKELEDIRGE that's already, you know, gotten a few Torch Songs up, I feel like you're way more likely to just risk it. And if you already have a few up, then just going for a few Fire Spins and then Fire Blasts could actually take down Rhydon. And then the last one I decided to show was Zapdos. I was considering showing Slowbro and Starmie, but I feel like with both Cloyster and Alakazam, you would already get the point with those guys. As for Zapdos though, it's faster, it can 3-hit KO with Thunderbolt, and even a Torch Song into a Fire Blast doesn't kill. And I'm assuming 2 Fire Blasts don't kill either. Unless you maybe have a burn. But even then, I'm skeptical. So here is the list. but I swear it's not as bad as it looks. I truly don't think so. Like, honestly, Snorlax should be brought up into great. I'm not sure why it isn't. Maybe, debatably, Chansey could be in good matchups too. Even then, I know there's still a lot of Pokemon that are in bad matchups, but it doesn't really matter, because even with Skeledirge having issues with, special drops and being outsped and killed, it still has the main functions that make Gengar good when it comes to being a ghost type. It can switch into the normal moves, eat them up easily. And while it's not as fast as Gengar, and while it doesn't have Explosion, it does have a trapping move, and it is very dangerous with how it can boost its special. And then, like, Skeledirge's Fire Blast flat out just does more damage than anything Gengar has that is an Explosion. Not to mention the 3 Pokemon that it needs, to be good against for its Fire typing and its Ghost typing, aka Executor and the big 3. It does a good enough job with those. So yeah, it doesn't like destroy everything in the meta, but it's not supposed to, It's just supposed to be good against the Pokemon it was made to be good against. And with that, even against Tauros, I'd say it does a pretty good job. Do I think it's better than Gengar? Probably not, but I do believe Skeledirge would stay in OU. Definitely not the best Pokemon in OU, but he does have his, his own place that needs to be respected. What do you think? Do you think Skeledirge would be underwhelming? Do you think he would be an NU? Only reason I say NU is because I do not think Skeledirge would survive in a meta with a whole bunch of water types in UU. But do you think he would be good? And how good would he actually be if Torch Song really did boost its special? Would it not change anything in the grand scheme of things because he can still get crit and stuff like that? Or would that absolutely make him busted? Let me know in the comments below. But until next time, this is Groundback, and I look forward to hearing from you.